Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. To have a schedule is not a big deal, but to come up with a schedule that actually works with your lifestyle is quite a bit of challenge. So if you have questions like whether do you really need a schedule to function optimally, or do you really need a schedule only at your workplace, or you need one when you get back home, or even if you are a mom, if those kind of questions always comes up to your mind, then I would urge you to stay till the end, where I can give you a quick framework to see what kind of scheduling method would work according to the lifestyle that you have to really get some more real stuff done. So stay tuned till the end. So I was a person who was so much excited when I come through either a video or even when I read a blog post about a scheduling method, and then I get super excited because that's a new idea that I have discovered, and of course I started fitting that into my lifestyle. And when I was just following line by line or each and every point that's being narrated by that particular person who have come up with that idea, it never felt complete. I would either stop within a week time, or it might be stretched over only to the max of like 2 to 3 weeks, because I was just trying to stick with the rule. That's exactly where I understood the fact that what works for one person might not work for you. It is basically because I think as a woman I have different roles that I need to do on a day-to-day basis, because at the workplace it's all the structured, like you just need to talk with the people of the same vibe. Most of the conversation that you're going to have is basically about the projects, or it's not something way too distracting. But as and when you get back home, your role actually gets switched up. Like you need to come up to the level of your kid, or you have to raise your vibe to that of your partner to actually have another conversation. So it was this role shifting which actually made me understand that it's not just one method of schedule that we need to stick with, especially if you're a woman. If you have different roles to play in a given day, then probably you might have to combine the scheduling method that you are utilizing on a day. But now, before we get into the details of identifying a framework and also coming up with a perfect scheduling technique, let's start with our why. Why is it important to schedule your day? And of course, there is no other better explanation than this particular quote: if it's not there in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And so now let's get started with our framework part. So here is the best way to look into the kind of roles or the lifestyle that you have on a given day. I would like to differentiate it with a scientist profile, and the next one would be a policeman profile. For example, when you step out of the home and you get into your office, you are in an environment where you are going to communicate with the people of the same vibe. Like you guys would be talking about the meetings, the projects, and everything is all in same vibrational frequency. So it's a designated space, and of course you can come up with an hour by hour, because generally when you are at a workplace at your own cabin, then of course it's place with least amount of distraction. And after that, when you get back home, it might be a chaos. I understand you have the downtime, you need to wind down, but then there would also be kids demanding your attention to either step out of the home or even for their homework. So it might be a totally different attention level you need to give to them. So that's where your policeman profile comes into play. So in the scientist profile, it's much more easier to go by hour. That's 7 to 8 hours of window, whatever you have. It's better if you can actually write down every hour what you are planning to accomplish, because there is maybe 5% or 10% of distraction. But when you get back home is where you go ahead with a block schedule, where you are saying to yourself that from 4:30 or 5 to 8 is where I will be spending the time with my kids, and then followed by that I'll do the dinner. Now the second part to the scheduling technique that you need to follow is either choose to plan your next day the night before, because there is a saying that your next day always begins the night before. So that's the best way to do. Or if not, don't ever delay. You need to complete scheduling or planning out your day within the first 1 hour of starting your day. That's one part. And the second thing is, after you have done scheduling for either the next day or during the first 1 hour, always highlight 3 things. Don't go beyond 3 things, because too much is a chaos. So always stick with 3. And remember, you are not going to do anything else until you complete those 3. So that even if you buy in between the day, then by the end of the day, you can at least feel accomplished that you moved the most important task for the day. I actually want to share the analogy that I heard from Ali Abdul when I was just going through his course. It was all about the pilot and the plane. The first 1 hour of the day, or like whenever you're planning, during that time is where you need to have a brain dump. Whatever comes into your mind, whatever things, even as small as like maybe like cleaning up a room or whatever it is, write it down, do a brain dump where you are being like a pilot. You are deciding where to go, you are setting up the signal, you are just setting the tone for the day. And then followed by the rest of the day should be like your plane. You have everything set up, the cockpit and everything is all good, and then all you need to do is just go in the right direction. So there isn't a better way to explain on how you should be scheduling your day. Just follow the pilot and the plane principle, and then I think everything would be figured out. Long story short, if you have policeman schedule, either when you're back at home or whenever your day, then I would say go ahead and stick with the block schedule. Or if you have a scientist schedule where you have the liberty to have your own structure, your own space, least amount of distraction, then go by scheduling. And also always go ahead and pick up the top 3 highlights for the day, and then choose not to do anything until you complete those 3 highlights for the day. So this was a big blocker for me, because I always ended up failing, and I started self-doubting like whether these scheduling techniques really work for somebody common like us. So that's where like I thought this was finally what I ended up figuring it out, what worked well for me, and thought of like sharing with you. Hope you do find it helpful. If at all, if you are interested in scheduling, let me know in the comments, and I would love to hear from you. I will see you all in my next video. Until then, stay happy, healthy and wise. Bye.